My name is Carol Harvey. On August 15, 2008, I moved into Presidio Gate Apartments, Unit 306, a nicely appointed 50-occupant building in the Marina District at 2770 Lombard Street, San Francisco, California 94123. For 17 years, cigarette smokers in the adjoining Unit 308 have put me at risk. Scientists have counted 7,000 toxins in cigarette smoke, including 43 known cancer-causing compounds, as well as nicotine, tar, carbon monoxide, arsenic, formaldehyde, ammonia, DDT, and the chemical weapon hydrogen cyanide. In this video, I will show you the source of the smoke and the toxins. The toxins have already affected my heart and lungs. This is a non-smoking HUD building. The smokers continue to smoke. This diagram of apartment 310, 308, 306, and 304 shows that the only person who could be pumping smoke into my unit lives in apartment 308. On the right of the diagram, the big red arrows show the direction of the smoke from apartment 308 into apartment 306. A marijuana smoker lives in 310. A non-smoker lives above me. No one lives below me. A non-smoker lives in apartment 304, and there's no opening in the wall between 306 and 304. And the right side of the diagram is the wall of the building. On Wednesday, October 29, 2025, I walked through the east end of the third-floor hallway of Presidio Gate Apartments, demonstrating the configuration of apartments 310, 308, 306, and 304, and the flow of the smoke from the hallway through apartment 306. This is the hallway on the third floor, Presidio Gate Apartments. This is apartment 310, where the assistant manager lives. That's the end of the hallway. At the end is the elevator. Okay, I'm coming back. This is where the assistant manager lives. Back it up a little bit so I can get the whole end of the hallway. That's apartment 310 to the left and apartment 304 to the right, and the recessed hallway into 308 in the middle. I'm going to walk past 308 toward 304. My apartment 306 is in the corner. The door is cracked a little bit. This is the recessed hallway to apartment 308, where the smoker lives. The smoke comes into the hall underneath that door, 308. It comes around here to 306 and 304. That's 304. I'm walking toward 304 right now. You see the number 304. Then my apartment is next to 304 right here. This is the door. That's the bed. You can see here how close the recessed hallway is to the smoker's apartment 308, which is right in here. That's 308, right there. This is how close 308 is to 304 and 306, my apartment, that we're going to go into right now. Entering 306, my apartment. You can see the number right there going in. This is the wall between 306 and 304. I'll show it to you when we get inside. The smoker is there right now. I've been hacking and coughing. This is the bed. You can see the plug there and the stain on the bedspread very clearly. Panning across the whole apartment, going across the north wall of the apartment to the window. You can see the window there. You can see the kitchen there. You can see my work area right there. And that is the wall between 304 and 306. And you can see there is no window or entryway of any kind between 304 and 306 in that wall that has the computer against it and the printer and the painting. And my futon, which I sit on to work, is right there. That's the pillow I lean against. You can see how close that futon is to this window. And this is the window in this wall. This is the plasterboard wall between the apartments 308 and 306 that I'm standing in right now. See how thin that wall is in a minute. You can see the kitchen. The smoke goes in the kitchen. Very often I'm standing in the kitchen and I'm coughing because the smoke comes right in this window. That is apartment 308's window where he blows the smoke through all the time. I'll raise this up. That's the distance between his window and mine where the smoke comes in. That's my neighborhood out there. And you can see the Palace of Fine Arts in the distance, kind of. So that's where the cigarette smoke comes in, and you can see how thin that wall is between the apartment 308 and 306 where I'm standing right now. And you can see the short distance the smoke comes in between where I'm sitting and the window. I'm sitting on that futon. He blows the smoke in over this space right here. It comes in that window there, through my window here, across the apartment, not very far where I'm sitting on that futon working. You can see the wall behind me has no opening into apartment 304. You can also see above this window there's a vent, and I think a lot of the smoke is coming through that vent. Okay, just hold on, I'll get the vent more effectively if I stand over here. Okay, there's the window that the smoke comes through. And there's the vent above it. I think that the smoke comes through that vent. Again, here's the bathroom. Often I'm sitting in here in the bathroom coughing because I think the smoke is also coming in the vent on the ceiling here. Up there. There it is. And all the vents are attached. They're enclosed within the apartment, but that vent is attached to that vent. Okay, let's walk out. Walking past the futon where I sit and work, right here. And the short distance between that window where the smoke is coming in constantly, even now because I've been coughing all afternoon. That's where the smoke comes in. And he has a far window back there that he could walk back to and blow his smoke out of, but he doesn't. He just blows the smoke on me as I'm sitting on that futon. Right there. And there's the bed, and there's the door. Last thing I want to show you is the sweep that they put under that door probably in 2012, because I complained about the cigarette smoke then. It doesn't work. That sweep is completely useless to keep out the smoke. I did that video on Wednesday, October 29th, 2025. It's 2:41 p.m. Next, I'm videoing a cigarette smoke stain that got on my bedspread when the smoke blew in from Unit 308 through an electrical outlet in my 306 wall. It's 7:48 a.m. My purpose is to video a stain next to my outlet on my bedspread for this report I'm making for this cigarette smoke. There's the outlet in the wall next to my bedspread, and you can see that smoke is coming through here because of the stain on this white bedspread. It's very faint in the camera, but it is there. It is a gray circle of cigarette smoke that came through that outlet and stained the bedspread. It's darker than the rest of the bedspread. And that's been going on for 17 years. If I move back, you can see it more clearly next to the plug in the wall. You can see the side of the bed and the wall. I'm going to back up so you can see this whole thing. And as I back up, I can see that gray circle more clearly in my camera. And right next to this whole outlet is a cupboard with a sliding door, a brown wood. That red thing is a pillow. Now you can see the rug. You can still see the plug and the stain. The stain is actually, as I'm backing up, it's getting clearer. That's cigarette smoke that's been coming through that outlet, that plug, for 17 years. This is the time I've lived here, and this is the time I've had this bedspread, the white bedspread, and I have never washed it. I've been very careful to keep it white. And now, at this point, 17 years later, it's light gray. But the stain on it is clear, and it's darker, and you can see it as I back up. I'm going to move the camera across the room. There's a television set, but there's the window where this person is blowing cigarette smoke into my apartment. So now, coming back to the bed and my feet, I'm walking around it. I'm going to walk over to that window across the room. This is the bed. The outlet is hidden. Well, you can kind of see it. There it is. And you can see the stain much more clearly now. You can see the cupboard, you can see the fan, you can see this pillow covered with red. And then as I pan across the room, so I'm panning across the room, you can see the wall that abuts the apartment where the guy is smoking 24/7, and he's smoking right now. I was just coughing a minute ago. Okay, I'm walking across the room. Here's what the room looks like, and here's where I sit on this futon to do my work. That's a futon there. It's not a chair because it's lower to the ground. I need to be low to the ground because of my disability. So panning back to the window, this is the window. This is my backyard. This across here, the window you see over there, is the apartment of the smoker. He's right there. And he's in there smoking right now. You can't see him because the blind is drawn. This is our wall, the abutting wall, and at the end of that, in the back, is the bed with the plug next to it, and with the stain on the bedspread. But this wall is very thin, and the smoke comes through pores in the wall. The wall is a porous material that sucks up tobacco in it. Chemicals from cigarette smoke, third-hand smoke, settle on and are absorbed by surfaces like drywall, carpets, and furniture. These harmful chemicals, including nicotine and carcinogens, will then off-gas or remit back into the indoor air over time, continuing to pose a health risk. Cigarette smoke can enter through pores in the drywall between 306 and 308. The main component of drywall is gypsum, a porous building material that acts like a sponge, absorbing a significant amount of toxic residue over time. Absorbed smoke particles are also the source of the lingering stale tobacco odor. So he's over there smoking right now. I'm breathing it. I'm breathing the smoke. So that's the backyard. So panning across the room. Again, I was standing over there. I walked from there to here. I'm going to walk back. I sit here, the smoke comes in the window and right down my throat. It's a very short distance. Out his window, into my window, and across the room, a short distance, straight into my throat as I'm sitting there working. This happens multiple times a day. All day. This room is never not filled with smoke. I clear my throat here because I'm breathing cigarette smoke. I'm going to walk back to where I was across the room. And I'm going to go back to the same place around the bed where the stain is. Stain is. The plug is, and the stain is, and it's been there for 17 years. Okay, I'm going around this bed. You can see a little bit of the plug right now. These are cupboards. I'm walking behind the bed, if you can, around the bed, if you can picture that. And next to the bed, next to the cupboards, there's a space between the cupboards and the bed, and in the end of that space, above the fan, is the plug. So I'm going to walk toward it, and you're going to see progressively the stain next to the plug on the bedspread. See that? It's gray. The plug is left, the stain is right. That's cigarette smoke on that bedspread. That's what it is. The stain's getting larger as I get closer to it, but there it is. On Thursday, July 17, 2025, I was shooting this video when the occupant of Unit 308 happened to walk past. I'm waiting in a seating area on the 3rd floor of Presidio Gate Apartments. Scott Grillo is going to pick me up at 2 here and take me out to an appointment at Orthotics and Prosthetics at General Hospital. The elevator can be heard coming in the background. The occupant of 308 steps out and walks past me. This is interesting. I'm just sitting here at the top of the stairs in Presidio Gate Apartments on my floor, and he just walked out of the elevator. This was a completely unexpected chance encounter. Now I have video of him. So he just walked into my camera, so I can show what he looks like at least. I comment to myself rather resentfully that he has brown skin from smoking all the time. Smokers can have dark skin due to melanosis, a form of hyperpigmentation of the skin associated with increased melanin. On February 18, 2019, the National Institutes of Health, NIH, published research indicating increased melanin in smokers' skin. Having more melanin means you have darker skin. The date is Sunday, November 2nd, 2025. It's 7:46 a.m. Actually, this is daylight saving time change, so it's really 8:46 a.m. Yesterday at this time it was 8:46 a.m. and out my window here you can see it's very sunny. It's much lighter than it would have been yesterday. And over here is the window of the smoker. The blinds are always drawn because this person will not allow himself to be observed smoking. You can see his window, and you can see the far window that's in his apartment. He could go back there and smoke anytime, but he doesn't. He chooses to blow the smoke out this window. Coming back inside, I've been clearing my throat all morning. I got up at 5 a.m. because he's been smoking all that time. And I'm congested right now. This is the futon where I sit and work. And moving across the room, the bed is back there. The outlet I spoke about in the other video is back there. This is the wall between our apartments. I just got up and was walking across this area past the window to the kitchen. And again, it's 7:48 a.m. So I'm going to walk in the kitchen. Every time I walk past this window into my kitchen, I cough. I go into the kitchen many times during the day, of course, as people do when they use their kitchen. So I'll walk through here, and I will turn and walk back past this window, through this door here, past the window, and my voice is congested, my throat is congested now. I often cough walking past this window because of the steady stream of cigarette smoke that he blows in through this window into my kitchen that I'm walking out of now. So many times a day I walk into my kitchen, past the window, through the kitchen door. Many times a day I walk into my kitchen, and every time I do, my throat's congested now, every time I do I cough because I'm breathing the cigarette smoke in this area that is being blown into the kitchen. I showed this on the chart, and doubly over me as I sit here on this futon. As you can see, in the kitchen, I do not have a kitchen table. There's no place to eat in that kitchen. It's just filled with bags and boxes and stuff against the wall. So I'm forced, walking again past this window, I'm forced to bring my food into the living room and eat sitting on this futon. As you can see, I have a coffee cup right there. That's where I eat, sitting on this futon. And when he's blowing the cigarette smoke in here, I can't swallow food. I can't swallow my food. I cough because there's smoke in my throat and I can't get the food down. This is a person who's extremely adept at hiding the fact that he's smoking. He's had years of this. He knows how to do it. And he does it very effectively. The fact that I actually got his image on the camera is a miracle. He never smokes anywhere but inside that apartment, with the blinds drawn, and the smoke comes directly through here. He doesn't smoke outside. He doesn't smoke walking through the building. He knows exactly how to hide this. So I'm breathing the smoke right now, and I have a lot of congestion, which I'm constantly clearing my throat. I just took a bunch of pills that I have to take for my high blood pressure, and I take them with food. I take them sitting in this futon, and I had a lot of trouble swallowing the pills. So again, this is the configuration of the rooms. There's the kitchen, there's the window, and there's the wall, and inside that wall he's sitting and smoking. You can tell that there's smoke coming in from across this wall because, and that's his apartment on the other side of that wall, because of this, the plug here and the discoloration on my bedspread from the smoke coming through that plug. Okay, the smoke is flooding in here at 12:19. I'm having a lot of trouble breathing. My eyes have started burning and tearing up. Forcing me to wipe them constantly, and my nose is suddenly congested. Between 12:48 and 2:24, my eyes became very red. I'm going to turn my eyes in many different directions so you can see the redness from as many angles as possible. The redness of my pupils is caused by the particulate matter, the grit that comes in with the tobacco smoke, the cigarette smoke into my apartment 24/7. And I have to say, it's painful. It burns. I misspoke. The redness is in the whites of my eyes, not the pupils. And again, I have to say, it really hurts. This is the end of a video presenting circumstantial evidence of cigarette smoking in Unit 308 Presidio Gate Apartments.